tengo ese ojo que está temblando mucho. Estate tranquila.
Chanel, it's me, Robin. I don't know why I don't see the rest of the group.
You're the first one to log on.
Oh, I see. Thanks. I'm sorry.
No problem.
No me eche preso de eso. Ella mamá me mandó a un rato.
Mami,
Hey,
déjame decirte algo. ¿No se le puede a poner
Hi, Mary.
Hi, James. How are you?
I am fine.
Good. Good, good.
Hi, Omar. Maybe you can hear me. Hope all is well.
Hi, James. Jim. How's everyone doing? I'm doing pretty good.
Pretty good.
You know, we just put Enzo down to sleep. So let's see how long that lasts. It's always a guessing game.
Hi, everybody. It's Mariel.
Hi, Mariel.
Hello.
Hola.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Robin.
Hey, Robin. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Okay.
Hello, Robin.
Hi, James. How are you?
I am fine, thank you.
Glad to hear.
I wonder where fearless leader is.
I don't know.
At least you guys get to see some of my office. Not much to see really, but you know, get some sort of an insight where I'm at.
And it's good to see your walls are not splattered with blood. This is very reassuring.
Hi, this is Kimberly from DOT. How are you guys?
Good, how are you, Kimberly?
Good. Could we promote a couple other folks from DOT?
Yes, of course.
We have Elena Lunova. I don't think I've ever said her last name. I said it right. And Nina Heyman. Thank you.
Here she is.
Sorry to be here a little late. I am having a few technical difficulties, so if you will bear with me, I'm just trying to switch from phone to my computer.
Omar. Hey, Omar. He's not there.
Yeah, I'm here, but you gotta bear with me. I got a child, and I got to unmute stuff. I gotta do all kinds of stuff.
Just want to say goodbye. We're sorry to see you go. You'll be back.
Thanks a lot, Bruce. Appreciate it.
And if you need babysitting, don't call me.
I'll make sure I won't. And Enzo agreed right now.
All right, I am getting in.
Okay. Clearly, this is going to be a night of technical difficulties. I think I want to call the meeting to order. I think we're going to be a little bit short today. I think I just neglected to say Omar, so we should be in good shape in terms of a quorum on the committee. If I could ask for a volunteer from the committee tonight to take some notes. They don't have to be super detailed because I think we can get the presentation from DOT and just sort of incorporate those into the notes. But Leah will not be able to be here tonight. Any takers?
I'd be happy to help you out, except I can't write. Still got a pen in my hand.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're only like a week and a half out from that.
No longer than that. I actually get it all off next week, but you know.
I told you not to bite your nails.
I got my Christmas due today. See?
Beautiful.
All right. Anyone from the committee help us out? I mean, I always take some notes, but as everybody knows, I talk a lot and I don't always take notes when I'm talking.
I'm notoriously bad at taking notes, which is why I'm not going to volunteer, but.
Okay, but we need somebody to do it.
Maybe Bruce would like to volunteer.
I just did my housing notes from November, but okay, if nobody wants to do it, I will jump in the fire.
Okay, and
champion.
I'll try to cover, you know.
No, it's easy because of the recording. So the problem is, synthesizing it all, but you and I will work together, Debbie. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay, and then, and let me note that Jay Mazer is also here. Okay, and then I just want to announce which board members we have joining us tonight. We have a big crew. Betty Lehman, who I imagine is here in part as a board member and as part with Isabella. We have, I know I saw more people. O.C. Kaminer. Okay. So we have a presentation with today, which I'm really excited for because we have a student group alongside DOT to talk to us about the work that they're developing for the area Amsterdam north of 188th, looping around to Fort George Avenue, and then also just stretching in that whole area to St. Nicholas. Before we get that, just a couple of quick updates, which I know everybody knows now, but it's just so exciting. I feel I need to say it, which is the deep station elevator replacement projects can now be considered done and dusted with the reopening of 181st Street 1 train last week, in addition to the 190th A exit onto Fort Washington. And while that station was open, given the topography there, not being able to exit via the Fort Washington side was a bit of it was quite literally a barrier. So that was very exciting. We have a new liaison at MTA, Jessica Spanton. So hopefully people have more of a chance to meet her in the future. Howie moved on to a different opportunity within MTA, so has not left the MTA family. I mean, one thing we're realizing is as great as some of the New York City Transit communications have gotten on the operational side, communications as it relates to capital projects is maybe not as fun. So with this, I'd like to pass to the DOT team. I know we have Kimberly Rancourt, we have Elena Lunyova, we have Nina Heyman, I know Lyle Blackwood, of course, and I think I'm probably missing one person, so I'm going to hand it to them And you can, and then you can introduce the students if we have them in attendance.
Sure. So hi, everyone. Kimberly from the Manhattan office of DOT. As you may recall, we were here in October and kind of gave you an overview to let you know that we're looking at Amsterdam Avenue in northern Manhattan, and that we were going to be starting with a project from 181st Street North, working with our school safety team, and that they've been engaged in pretty extensive outreach since that time with a number of stakeholders in the community. And most of all, I challenged myself, not an after-school organization, and we have Nina and Elena here to present the proposal, but are there also some students that should get promoted, Nina? Or have they been able to sign in?
Elena, do you see them? I don't see them. Oh, you're on mute.
I see Joanna. Hi, Joanna.
Hi, I was trying to, but for some reason she can't pull her camera. I don't know. Anna is trying to log in. She's texting me, but she's not able to put the camera. She said she can.
Okay, Rodriguez.
Yeah,
Anna.
so could we also promote Anna? She's in the, I see her in the attendees list, even if she doesn't have her camera. It would be great to promote her.
Joanna, and what about, sorry, I don't see the attendees list. Oh, 1 second. Here it is.
All right, I think I got her.
Great.
Oh, wait, did I do the right? I have two Anna R's.
Yeah, maybe she signed in on a phone as well.
All right, I'm promoting them both, and then hopefully that creates a whole Anna.
Great. So just as a refresher, we've been, we're really excited about this proposal tonight, and it's really in response to a lot of the concerns that we've heard about this area from the community through various channels. And we've been working really hard to put together a proposal in collaboration with the students. And I think I'll kick it over to Nina and Elena to give the presentation.
I just want to make sure that one more student is joining. Is Johnsley here?
I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm looking for Johnsley.
Johnsley. I'm not seeing on the attendee side. Let me just take a quick scan on the panelist side.
Let's see them.
Don't see him. Don't see him. Don't see him.
Oh, Lyle, lots of echoes.
I feel like Lyle's DJing the meeting tonight.
Is it okay to start without?
If we can wait a couple of minutes, it would be great. Joanna and Anna, maybe you can text him and see if he is able to join.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks.
Cool.
All right, maybe somebody can just get us started. I feel like somebody added, but not the person we're looking for.
Yeah, if we can kick off at least the background section, that would be great. Are you able to share a screen?
Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. Without further ado, my name is Elena Lenyova, and I am a project manager with New York City Department of Transportation. I work for School Safety Unit. And in our unit, we are responsible for redesigning streets next to school with the goal of improving safety of all users.
I'm sorry, can you speak a little louder?
Sure. Mhm. Okay, is this better?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, great. My name is Elena. I'm a project manager with DOT School Safety. The job of DOT School Safety is to redesign streets around New York City schools to improve safety of students and also all other road users, including cyclists, pedestrians, and drivers. Okay. So the area that we're looking at today is Amsterdam Avenue between West 188th Street and St. Nicholas Avenue. The area is outlined in red. There are 8 schools along this corridor. There have been multiple community concerns about this area, pedestrian safety concerns, concerns about racing and speeding. We received a request for improvements from, I challenge myself, the after school program at George Washington campus. And this is when we got closely involved at looking at the street together. This slide shows safety data for Amsterdam Avenue. The data is not really good here. There have been 2 fatalities in past 5 years. The most recent one happened after we started looking at Amsterdam Avenue just a month and a half ago. There are also many injuries, and a high percent of injuries are rare injuries that are indicative of speeding. And also this corridor has a high concentration of child injuries, much higher than in overall in Manhattan.
Elena Jonesley's here now, just FYI.
Great. Okay, perfect. With this, I will transfer the mic, so to speak, virtual mic to Jonesley. Jonesley, please take it from here.
He has the same problem that I have, so he can turn off the camera. So
we don't. I
he's
think it's
waiting for that.
Is he promoted? Can we promote him? I'm sorry for the confusion, but perfect. Thank you. Should be able to at least speak now.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
All
Hi,
right,
Johnsley.
Hi. So I'm just gonna, get started. So my name is Johnsley Sanchez. I am with I Challenge Myself and with my school and the bike program. And for the past few weeks, we've been working with the DOT to find improvements to Amsterdam Avenue. And in the last few sessions we had, we've gone outside to see the street and measure it and measure the speed of drivers that go through it. And we've also made mock-ups of what we want the new street to look like. So can we go to the next slide?
Yep.
All right. So, like I said before, one thing we've done with the DOT, one time we measured the speed of drivers that go through Amsterdam Avenue, and we found 63% of drivers go above the speed limit. And we are trying to figure out ways to narrow the street and make it much safer to make speeding less encouraged. And when we were out there, we used the speed guns and we measured one driver going 49 miles per hour. So this is a very big issue with Amsterdam, and we just want to make the street much safer. Okay, next. So the main reason speeding is so apparent in Amsterdam Avenue is the width of the street. When we went out with the DOT, we measured the street and we found out it's way too wide and it's way too easy for drivers to just speed through the street. And when we were making mock-ups of the street, we were figuring out ways to narrow it, put things in the middle to make speeding less encouraged and making the street more safer. Another issue that Amsterdam Avenue has is reckless driving. Because of the street's width and the fact that no one is ever on the street, this gives drivers the idea to be very dangerous on the street. And I myself actually witnessed drivers being reckless all the time when I'm leaving school, when I'm at the park. The street is so wide, people think it's just a playground for reckless driving, and we're trying to figure out ways to make the street safer, make the street narrower, and make it more user-friendly. Another smaller issue Amsterdam Avenue has is the inefficient use of parking. There were never lines made for people to park like this, and since people park like this, there's no lines, there's no clear way to park efficiently, and there's a lot of spaces between cars that are too close to each other, and sometimes they're just cars that never move at all, they just stay there, and that's another issue that we're having with Amsterdam Avenue.
Okay, I'm passing this on to Anna.
Hi everyone, my name is Ana Rodriguez, and I'm a student from the high school meaning communication, and I'm also part of the program I Can Challenge Myself. So as you can see in this slide, the street is very wide, and it's a problem for us, the student, and for the other people, and for the kids to pass, because sometimes they think they're not gonna make it, and plus the people here speed and they do donuts. So we're trying to do the street more safety for us, because this is behind our school. So it's a big issue, big problem for us. Next slide, please. So as you can see in this slide, there are people who don't follow rules. There are people who throw the garbage in the street. As you can see, there are people who park in here. These trucks stay here for 4 days, even for 5 days or more longer. And there are people who use the street for other beneficials. As you can see, there's a car wash here, and they're not supposed to be here. For the people who's driving, they can cause an accident. And we want to do the street more friendly for the people who's driving, the people can join here. Some people are scary for the street because they think it's dangerous. Right now, I'm passing to Joanna, my partner.
Hi everyone, my name is Joanna Garcia. I'm also part of the I Challenge Myself program, and I'm a high school for life and public service in George Washington. This is 4th George Avenue, and as my friend Anna said, you can see the cars and car washes cover blocks, the bike lanes. So this is an issue because when the cars and the car washes blocks the bike lanes, it makes cyclists to go on top of the sidewalk, and this is an issue because we don't want any bikes on top of the sidewalks, because older people, and kids walk over there, so we don't want any problems and not nobody to crash. So we really want to fix this, and we hope like our idea turns out better. Next slide, please. So this West 190th Street. The issue with this street is that this is a long crossing street. As you can see, it's 42 feet wide, and it takes a few time to cross the street while the cars are waiting for the lights. And since it's so wide, cars start making different roads, disorganized. As you see, this white car is trying to get in front of the other one. And we really want to keep this like organized and less dangerous, because this really can be dangerous. If you see like this point of view, everybody trying to cross the street, cars in a hurry, making more lines, all disorganized. So we're really trying to fix that. I hope you like this idea. These were some of the issues and safety concerns we had. And now I'll pass it to Elena. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joanna and Anna and Johnsley. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So just to quickly sum up in current design, the street basically promotes bad uses of the street and lets people avoid the park instead of promoting the use of the park. And we are all working together to make it safer for people to use both the street and the park. So just a couple of words about our outreach. As Kim mentioned, we have talked to a lot of people. In past couple of months, we've reached out to all the schools along Amsterdam Avenue corridor. We also met for a walkthrough and for digital and in-person meetings with Community Board 12, Connect Tennis, Isabella, New York City Transit, Department of Parks and Recreation, and Mountain Bikes Association. So I will jump straight to our proposal. So this is the overall concept of what we've come up with and we have in mind for the street. So this proposal is a design that you've probably seen on the streets of Manhattan. So on your right, you can see a bicycle lane that is protected by parked cars, by floating parking lane, and also pedestrian islands. And this design allows us to effectively narrow the roadway and to shorten the crossing distances. So the example on the photo is Willis Avenue in the Bronx. And as you can see here, an approximately 60-foot wide street, the crossings were narrowed by at least 20 feet. So this this design allows us to achieve several goals. It allows us to calm traffic, to reduce speeding, to provide better visibility for pedestrians, and to shorten crossing distances. And a few words about safety data on such designs. These are designs that we have been installing in Manhattan since mid-2000s. So we do have a lot of data on how these work. Overall, they've been a great addition to New York City streetscape. We've seen 15 drop in all crashes with injuries on such corridors, and very importantly, 21% drop in pedestrian injuries. A very clear indicator that this design is safe, not just for cyclists, but for all of the users of the street. And now I will go in a little bit more detail of our proposal, and we will look at the proposal in section. So I will move starting from south to the north and then go to West 190th Street. So the first section of our proposal is Amsterdam Avenue between West 188th Street and West 198th Street. So as I mentioned here, we are looking to significantly narrow the roadway by installing a parking protected bicycle lane and concrete pedestrian islands. There are also a couple of very important additional safety improvements that we're adding here. We're adding a hardened center line on the entire block of West 189th Street to 198th Street to kind of cut the space that is currently actively used for racing and donuts. And our pedestrian islands are designed in a way that would make it as pretty hard for vehicles to enter the bike lane. At the same time, this design allows for DCNY vehicles to clean the bike lane. Moving one block up, this is Amsterdam Avenue from West 190th Street up to the curve of the hill. On your right, you can see a small map that shows you where exactly we are in the proposal, right? So this is back of Isabella Senior Center and back of George Washington campus. So there are a few big changes that we are proposing here. We are proposing to continue the two-way protected bike lane along the park side. The bike lane would be protected by pedestrian islands, and there will be a bus boarding island installed. The bus boarding island is so long to accommodate the articulated buses that go on this route. And this side of the street had angled parking. We will convert angled parking here to parallel parking. And along the west curb of the street, we will install a large painted pedestrian curb extension. And we will maintain angled parking with marked parking parked stalls. At West 190th Street, we will have another painted curb extension. And at the very bottom, you also see a hardened center line. So pretty much we are trying to tackle the extra width on the street that currently allows for reckless behavior from every single corner of this intersection. So the crossing on West 190th Street is effectively almost 20 feet narrower here. Over here, 62 feet crossing becomes a 20 feet crossing. And over here, 62 feet crossing becomes a 40 feet crossing. This is a pretty change for this part of the street. Moving on to section 3, we're going up the hill, so to the a little to the north, right? You can see where we are on the map in the top right corner. So here the proposal is to take the protected bike lane all the way to the top of the hill and to switch it to a pair of one-way bike lanes going to the other end to St. Nicholas Avenue. There are big no standing anytime zones located along the curve of the hill, and we are proposing to change those and install community parking. We hope that this will help us with the illegal parking in no standing anytime zones by large trucks, and it will also give much needed parking to the community and teachers and employees of Isabella and George Washington campus. The reason why we are going back to the bike lane, the reason why we're switching a two-way bike lane here at the top of the hill to a pair of one-way bike lanes is so that we can provide a seamless connection to St. Nicholas Avenue. Our long-term goal is to continue to lane along Park to St. Nicholas Avenue, but that would require capital reconstruction. And we hope to do this using capital project that is already underway, and its scheduled start of construction is 2025. Once designs for that project are ready, DOT will come with a separate proposal for review for that. sorry, sometimes my keyboard just works and sometimes for some reason it doesn't. Give me 1 second. So now we are at section 4 of the proposal. So this is the other curve of the hill, as you see on the map on top. So here, a pair of one-way bike lanes, protected bike lanes, continues and connects to St. Nicholas Avenue and Fort George Hill. This is all, such bike lanes are also not a new treatment, and we've been adding them in different boroughs of the city in the past few years. And now our last section of the proposal. This is West 190th Street between Amsterdam Avenue and Wadsworth Avenue. As Joanna mentioned, this street is excessively wide. It is 42 feet wide, and it only has one moving lane. And all of this extra space allows for disorganized driving, idling trucks, and double parked vehicles. So what we are proposing here is to change angled parking along the south side, change parallel parking along south side of the street with angled parking, and to add large painted curb extensions at the intersections. So with that, we will achieve two goals. First, and most importantly, we will significantly shorten crossing distances and improve visibility for pedestrians. This is particularly important at Amsterdam and Audubon, right along all the schools and the senior center. And we will also add angled parking that we are removing in the other section of Amsterdam Avenue along back of George Washington campus. And just to sum up, this proposal allows us to achieve multiple goals at the same time. It allows to calm traffic and to reduce speeding. It provides shorter pedestrian crossing next to all the schools and the senior center. It provides cyclists with safe space to bike on and removes them from the sidewalk. And very importantly, it adds concrete pedestrian safety islands to improve visibility and safety of the most vulnerable pedestrians. So this just to show how the proposal would work in terms of bike connections and that it makes sense. On the left, you see the existing bike map of New York City, and on your right, you see the proposed map. So as you can see, we are upgrading the conventional bike lanes and sharrows on Amsterdam Avenue, here shown in pink and blue, and we're turning them in protected bicycle lanes that would connect to Fort George Hill, Dyckman Street, and the Greenway. So there is one question that we probably were asked at every single outreach meeting we did on this project, which was why don't you install speed humps on Amsterdam Avenue and be done with this? And the reason why is because this is bus route and we are not allowed to install speed humps on bus routes. So in the past couple of years, DOT was trying to find a way around it. And there is a new treatment that we've just started installing in the past couple of years on New York City streets. It's called speed cushion. As you can see, it is essentially a modified speed hump that allows buses to go through without slowing down, but it slows down regular cars. Installation of such speed cushion needs to meet multiple criteria. So at this time, we are not able to tell you if we're able to install speed cushions in Amsterdam Avenue or how many there will be. What we definitely can tell you is that we will study the entire stretch of Amsterdam Avenue between West 188th Street to St. Nicholas Avenue to see if we can install them and how many. Hopefully we can. And if yes, this will be an additional treatment to further enhance the safety proposal that we currently have. We've also received additional requests for improvements from the schools nearby, and we will be conducting some additional studies. They include studies for traffic controls, basically always stops at traffic signals at Audubon Avenue, at West 191st Street, West 192nd Street, and West 193rd Street. And we will look into one-way conversion of Audubon Street between West 193rd Street and St. Nicholas Avenue. Similarly to speed cushions, these are studies, these are feasibility studies. We will need to collect a lot of data and look at a lot of numbers before we will tell you if these meet the criteria for installation and approval. But these studies are underway. Now, this is a very important slide. It describes parking changes in the neighborhood. So this is a summary of the parking changes of the proposal. As you can see, we are removing a lot of angled parking at the back of George Washington campus and Isabella. So that would be minus 82 spots. We are adding a lot of parking at the curve of the hill, about 35 spots. And we are adding a lot of parking on West 198th Street between Wadsworth and Amsterdam Avenue. And we would also have to remove 3-4 parking spots to install concrete pedestrian islands at intersections. So this would result in the total parking loss of approximately 9 to 12 parking spots. And we've tried very hard to minimize this loss to the maximum extent possible. So this concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for listening to Anna and Josley and Joanna. And here we open it to your questions and comments.
Thank you so much. I know we're gonna, I'm sure, hear this echoed so many times, but it's so exciting to have the I Challenge Myself team here, and we really thank you all for this presentation and this work, and it's been really exciting. But instead of me going on, I actually, not to put on the spot, but I'm wondering, Omar Tejada, if you are available to say a few words. I think you have a special, yes, you do. I'm going to start with Omar and let you actually kick us off.
Thanks, Debbie, for giving me the floor first. Full disclosure, a few years ago, I was a ride leader for I Challenge Myself. And if Anna Reyes, if you're on the call, if you're out there, hi. I know it's been a long time, but it's exciting. I was part of the what you call the graduation process of the I Challenge program, where the students complete their 100-mile event at the end of the year. So it's very exciting to see the students here. It's very impressive. At your age, I was so far removed from this kind of work that you're doing. It's always exciting for me to see the youth doing this type of work, because it took me 30 years to realize that I could do this type of work. So you're doing it at a much younger age than I ever did. So you should be proud of yourself for doing that and being involved in your community, because this is the foundation of government. This is the preliminaries of it. This is the beginnings of it right here. And you're participating in government and having your voice heard. So kudos to you, and kudos to I Challenge Myself. As you can see here, I'm a big fan of the organization and the work that they do with the many high schools, because not just George Washington, there's a few other high schools that get involved with this program. So wanted to get that out the way. Thank you. I'm very familiar with this area, both as a pedestrian, as a driver, and as a cyclist. So you have a huge advocate in me in all kinds of angles on this one. It's long overdue. I don't know how many times we've spoken about this area in regards to speeding and the dangers that are present there, and it has gotten better, but we still can get even more better. And one of the things that we can't do is rest on the work that's been done before. We need to complete the work, and I see your proposal as that process to finally bringing safety to that area in multiple ways. I was glad to see the connection on Fort George Hill to bring you back home. If you're coming from the Greenway on Dykeman, I think that's perfect. It's tough to handle parking, and you answered one of my questions: what is the net loss in parking? And I see that there was a lot of attention and detail paid to try to preserve as much as possible. And if losing 9 to 12 parking spots keeps our children safe, I can't see anyone arguing against that. And this is what this is about. There are multiple high schools there. So many children traverse that area to get to school. I can't see anyone saying no to this. And that's where I'm coming with this. This is to ensure the safety of our children. So that's my two pieces. You're very thorough, very organized. I'll have more questions later with the one-way street whenever we get the studies back for that, because that's another change that I'm curious about. But in terms of your proposal here, you have an advocate in me. I 100% support the work that you're doing. And Debbie, thank you for giving me the floor. This one hits me in the heart. And just sad that great that it's in my last meeting to be a part of this. And you'll see me as a regular member, hopefully seeing this to its completion. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Omar. And I'm glad you joined us tonight in a lot of different ways. Jim, did you want to go next?
Yes, thank you. And a lot of what I'm going to say, I'm not going to say it because Omar said pretty much. I'm a retired teacher. So when we have young people involved in things and learning and actually participating in this is actually, as Omar pointed out, this is part of New York City government. You're part of the governmental process right now. And we're so happy to have you. And it's just grand. Now, the other thing is, as Omar pointed out, although I don't bike, the fact that there are these big improvements in the bike lanes is another wonderful thing. Now, the sore spot, is these 12 spaces. And maybe if you look a little harder, or it might only be 9, but if you look a little harder, you can find a few more, because that always gets people annoyed. So, insofar as we can minimize the spaces lost, that would be a wonderful thing. And in fact, you made a great improvement, because the angle parking behind George Washington, that's a very lonely area, and mostly you don't park there unless you can't find a parking space anywhere else. And then there you are in the middle of the nowhere. So the newer parking spaces, I think, are closer to where there are people, which I think is much safer for everyone. So that's a big improvement. I have 2 other comments, and again, I'm just so happy with the fact that this, basically, as the students have pointed out, at night and then at various times, that street becomes almost like a crazy house. People just do stupid things, and it's very dangerous. So the fact that we finally have the attention, that's also wonderful. So you mentioned a one-way bike lane, so I'm wondering where the other way is. And the only other thing, you talk about these hardened barriers, and they're those plastic things. They're not hard. And in fact, the characters who do the nonsense now are just going to drive over these things, and they'll be gone in a few days. So you may have to come up with something harder than that. Obviously, you don't want to put concrete all over the place. But there are some folks who, they don't respect paint, and they don't respect plastic, those plastic bendy things. So I'm just alerting you that, that these are folks who are used to doing nonsense, and, there's nonsense all summer long. It used to be so bad there. The borough president of Manhattan got complaints from the borough president of the Bronx that the noise behind GW was keeping people in the Bronx up at night. So anything to quell this craziness and make it safer for everyone, I think is a great improvement, and I am very thankful. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Jim.
I think Elena's looking just to answer the one-way question, since that was a specific.
Oh, okay, great.
That's my guess, at least.
Elena, you want to respond to that?
Yeah, that's the slide.
So Jim, I mean, I can answer really quickly too. It's still two-way. It's just that instead of being two-way on one side of the street, it's one way on each side of the street. And as Elena mentioned, the plan in the long term would be to have it two-way continuous all the way up that part of Amsterdam to Fort George Avenue, which would then connect to Fort George Hill, where there's also a two-way. So in the short term, it would be divided on either side of the street. But in the long term, we would want to move that over together.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sure.
And actually, I think I'm just going to keep my questions to the end because it's more process than the content. I have OC and then Betty, who are community board members, but not obviously committee members. OC?
Okay, hi, thank you for the presentation. Question about the angled parking. Can you go back to the slide where Fort George curve, where all the trucks, I mean, like not all, I mean, like trucks are parking at the no parking zone? The question that I have, yes, thank you. The angled park, will they cover the area where trucks are currently parking illegally? I guess that, I understand they park illegally, but they park anyway. And the question, will those parking spots, the angled ones, will cover area where those trucks are currently parking to avoid the trucks parking there?
So I can answer that as well if that's helpful, Elena. But that area would have parallel parking. On the curve, we can't fit the angled parking, but it will have the regulation change to regular street cleaning, which we've seen in other locations, does discourage that sort of long-term illegal parking from happening because it becomes legal parking for other people, if that makes sense.
But the problem with the trucks, they're parking there overnight, and nighttime is the time where people are looking for parking spots after they come back from work. Are there any other solutions that you may think about that may help us more?
I think that's what we have to work with at the moment. We can certainly continue to monitor after this goes in, but we can't fit the engineering standards for angled parking are very specific. And so we wouldn't be able to put that there. But like I said, changing the regulation to become legal parking spaces, we've had success with that. And with general like activation of a street, the example that comes to mind is Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn alongside Prospect Park on the east side. We had that issue there as well. And with the addition of a two-way bike lane and actual parking spaces, we've seen a big change in the number of vehicles that are illegally parked for long-term like that. So I think we could start with this and then we can continue to monitor and see if we can come up with any other solutions, but there's not any obvious other things we could do to prevent that.
Okay, my last question about the crosswalk on 190 that I know is an issue. Amsterdam and 190 is a big issue over there. Did you look into raising the box? They do it in Ithaca, and you just raise the entire box. I don't know if you guys looked into it and why it was not included, if you did look into it.
So we have started doing raised crosswalks at some locations. There are not that many locations where it's feasible for us to implement that in-house with our crews. We're currently doing that at Fort Washington and 181st Street. I believe that we actually reviewed this location as one of a number of locations along this corridor following a request from a number of elected officials and others, and that it was determined that it wasn't feasible for us to do at this location. It's really tricky with the drainage and all the other factors that come into play when constructing that for our crews in particular. That's not as part of like a full street reconstruction, but as part of our regular work program.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Okay, Betty Lehman. Betty,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No problem.
You mentioned changing the no parking sign to something else, and I didn't get what that was. And the second question is, what is the time frame on this? And the third is, can we get a copy of the slides?
Sure. So the slides we will share tomorrow, and they'll also get posted on our website. The no standing anytime, we're proposing to change to regular alternate side. And the third question was what? Sorry.
What's the time frame on this?
Oh, time frame. Great question. So this is something that we would look to do over the next implementation season, which starts next spring and goes through next fall.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. I'm gonna just see if there's any questions in the attendee list. I think I see Kelly Ray. And Kelly, you have 2 minutes to do your thing.
Hi, thank you. And thanks for the great presentation. This is really a breath of fresh air for residents here. I did have a couple of follow-up questions, one of which pertained to the parking situation in the neighborhood. You know, as people have mentioned, there are a lot of vehicles, commercial vehicles, double axle vehicles, and there's also a Delaware used car dealership that regularly leaves its cars in the neighborhood. And all of this makes it very difficult for residents to park. So I'm wondering if there's a possibility of parking permits to be applied in the area so that people can reasonably park. And then I'm just going to mention my second question, which was just concern about whether there's, I was wondering if DOT actually beta tests their bike lanes. And I'm asking this because as a cyclist myself, who often rides, I don't do it anymore, but I in the beginning, I used to ride northbound on Amsterdam, including the expressway interchange that happens at around 179th. And I've noticed that there's a bike lane that basically stops at the on-ramp. I think it might be to 195, but I'm not sure. And, you know, it's one thing to paint a line, but it's another thing to see what drivers actually do. And essentially the bike lane is really a second right-hand turn lane for cars. And if you don't have the light, if you have a red light, you're in a cyclist, you're sitting there and you're finding yourself with cars that come up from behind you and will actually drive around you in order to make that turn on the right. And you know, some sort of incidents of road rage have come up when I've been sitting there. And I thought if anyone actually beta tested this, they would realize this is really not a safe alternative. So I'm just wondering if there is some kind of process by which testers actually go out and make sure that the arrangements are suitable and safe for cyclists. Thanks.
Sure. So I think with regard to the second question, I mean, we do a lot of on the ground design work. I think we understand that to the south of this location where we have bike lanes and they actually end up becoming shared lanes, which is a project that was implemented several years back at this point, that there's certainly room for improvement. And when we were here in October, we talked about looking at the corridor further to the south and kind of biting this off chunk by chunk, phase by phase. So that is an area we'd like to look at more. We do also do follow-up safety studies. Elena alluded to that with our sort of comprehensive protected bike lane study, but I know we do also have data here on Fort George Hill that we could share since we put together a slide for you, Debbie. So we can share that, but so we do a lot of monitoring before and after, and in some locations, especially with projects that were put in, a while back, the designs, we have updated designs and different things in our toolkit now. So we think that it's certainly worth another look at that location. With regard to residential parking permits, I know that was a topic that Debbie and others were interested in discussing at CB12. There are a number of reasons why DOT is not currently looking at residential parking permits. There are a lot of complications with that. So I think to the extent that we can look at parking regulations in certain locations and working with PD to try to eliminate some of those illegal uses, we can work with them on that. But for the time being, we don't have a residential parking permit process.
Sorry, working with whom?
Or we can work with
NYPD.
PD on it,
NYPD.
and enforcement of those of the illegal parking, illegal uses.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, implementation is always a good opportunity, I imagine, to get some enforcement attention. I think some of the enforcement of these things at the curb end up sort of getting deprioritized, or they don't all get chased down. But we can certainly, DOT, I know you have your process with NYPD, and if we need to ask Ebenezer to raise any specifics, and including business and sort of commercial uses, overnight parking, etc. I mean, it is something that has come up for this area before. We can certainly do that when it's implementation time. So, and then you said implementation, just to reiterate, would be somewhere in the next spring to fall window for.
Yeah, that's
okay. Okay. All right. I think with that is all our hands. Yeah. Well, thank you so much again to the student team and to DOT and the thoughtfulness and comprehensiveness of this proposal. We'll look forward to, all the next steps and implementation next spring, hopefully. I guess Kimberly, as usual, and Lyle, if I can keep you around a little bit if things come up for the remainder of the meeting. We don't have any more agenda items, so I imagine if just anything, if you have any follow-ups, anything that's outstanding, I'll try to think of a few of what we have in terms of old business with you before we let you go for the night. Wait, I think. Wait, OC, is that a new hand?
It is, but I don't know if you want, it could be an old or new, probably a new, I don't know if it's old or new to DOT. It's a question to DOT. So whenever we get to it.
Debbie, just to point out that it would be really helpful for us to have a resolution of support in this project, especially as we're moving forward with other related work along the corridor.
Oh, I am sorry. I should have asked, and I was presuming that you didn't need a reso tonight. Well, I'm certainly happy to make a motion in support of the changes indicated here.
I second the motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Omar gets to second the motion because he's leaving us for a while.
Thank you.
And let me just do a quick roll. I mean, is it okay if I say, are there any committee members who are opposed to this resolution? Okay, hearing none, the resolution is passing unanimously. Betty Lehman, would you like to vote? And OC, would you like to vote as?
Yes, I'm voting yes.
I'm voting yes.
Okay, very good. And okay. All right, great. So that is a passed resolution. We'll look forward to bringing that.
Excuse me, but I believe members of the public have the right to vote also.
Yeah, I usually do that. I just saw it with the Zoom thing. Well, also, okay, so this is what we're going to do. Abraham Valentine and Gabrielle Miller, I see you have hands up now. I'm going to ask you to put your hands down for a moment so we can take an attendee vote. Thank you. Abraham, if you can, oh wait, let me see if I can do it. Okay. So I'm going to now go to the attendee list. If all in favor of the resolution proposed here tonight, if you want to raise your hand, we'll take a count. Okay, so I have, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yeses. Okay, now you all lower those hands. We got another one. If there's anybody who is opposed in the attendee list, why don't you raise your hands now? Okay. I think we have one, but that might just be a remaining hand up. Okay. Now let's go back. Abraham Valentine, did you have a question you wanted to ask or something you wanted to raise? There you go. Mr. Valentine? All right, we're going to come back. Gabrielle Miller, did you have something you wanted to say?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. My name is Abraham, and I was just questioning about speed cameras coming up for George Hill, only because this street also, we have two buildings here, 11 for George Hill and 17 for George Hill. And these guys run up this block constantly around 9, 10, 11, 12 at night. They're speeding up this block and there are no speed cameras. I know you cannot put speed bumps because this is a street where fire trucks come up and all. And I was wondering if anybody would propose about having a speed camera put in place to catch these guys doing this illegal drag racing that they do on Fort George Avenue. I know I'm not the only one to complain about that, because around Fort George Avenue, where the park is at, you have guys who do drag racing up there at night. Thank you for hearing my question. And I'm new at this, so I apologize.
You did a great job, and you were very,
I'm
like,
sorry.
you kept it succinct.
I'm sorry.
Kimberly, can you just speak to speed cameras for a moment?
Sure, just
Because
to
I also know that that's changing, because some of that's coming up in the streets plan of, it used to be so limited, the opportunity, and I know that we're looking at an expansion and how that might affect us.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to clarify before you meet yourself, Abraham, is that, I think you mentioned Fort George Hill and Fort George Avenue. Is it one or the other or both?
No, it's on both. There have been times that I've called 911 because of the drag racing up on Fort George Avenue, right where the buses park. There's usually cars that are up there drag racing at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's ridiculous, you know. And as far as speed cameras coming up for George Hill, if they put speed cameras there, because you cannot have what do you call Street
Yeah, so I think,
bumps?
I don't know if Elena or Nina have anything they can add specific to this location and speed cameras, but in general, we've been fairly limited on what we're able to do. We are kind of working through that, as Debbie mentioned, so I don't have any specific updates now.
Well, I appreciate your time.
That is-
I'm here with Paul Hintersteiner, who used to be part of Community Board 12. I live with Paul, and I was just curious as to when this Paul Hintersteiner. Yes, I was just curious about if anybody's doing anything about that. That's all, because I've called numerous times because of the drag racing up on Fort George Avenue. And that's exactly where the buses are parked. And this happens around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They're drag racing up there. It's gotten out of hand.
Yeah, one of the challenges that we've had is that we have only been able to have speed cameras work during school hours. So those overnight issues haven't been able to be addressed by that, but it's something we're looking into certainly to expand the program. So hopefully in the future.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, people should know that there are some restrictions that are at the New York State legislative level and actually not in the control of the city, but that seems to be finally changing a little bit, hopefully going forward.
Debbie, if I could interject, I don't think we need the screen sharing right now. They can always put it back on if someone has a question. Thank you.
Oh, great. All right, so Gabrielle Miller, did you have a question? Because if not, I'm going to move to Eve Kessler. But Gabrielle, I'm going to give you a moment. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Hi there. Thank you so much. I will keep it quick. I know everyone wants to end the meeting as soon as they can. So number one, just quick question on if there is data that supports the narrowing of the street will reduce speeds and by how much. That's number one. And my second question is there a possibility or is there a second phase of this project that will extend south? Because I know there are other schools along Amsterdam Avenue, just north of 181st Street, that also could be captured in some of this mediation.
Thank you. So for the second question, we're certainly looking to increase safety to the south of this location. We can't say yet what that design would be. There are other factors, different land uses that would come into play, but we're certainly looking to extend safety treatments further south. And then for the first one, I'm not sure that we have data specific to speeds, but we have the safety data, which Elena referenced in the presentation, which shows that when we do these types of projects which involve the narrowing of the street, we see safety benefits for everyone on the street and especially pedestrians.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you,
thank
Kimberly.
you for the question, Gabrielle. Eve Kessler.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
we can.
Okay. It's a question actually for Debbie. I've been hearing, I went down to Broadway Bridge, as DOT folks know, there's a big project to fix it going on right now. And I spoke to the press shop today, but I've been hearing a lot of safety complaints, and it's like, if you go down there, the sidewalk is blocked off on one side, and there's workers parking. So there's a kind of a dangerous situation. I mean, it's dangerous down there just to begin with, but it's been made even more dangerous because of the construction. So, I've been hearing this from, activists and cyclists in Community Board 12, but I was just wondering whether you've heard it at the at these meetings, and whether you have some statement or just some general, statement of concern that you would like to make about the safety.
And so
we did discuss it at the meeting briefly, or it was raised in one of the last month or the month prior. I think.
But I see you
can't
saw the
remember.
pictures.
Sorry, Mr.
Everything I
Abraham.
shared with
I'm
you.
sorry, Mr. Valentine. Can you just mute yourself? Oh wait, I'm gonna mute you. There we go. Okay. So I think Lyle or Kimberly were going to poke around on what was happening with Broadway Bridge because we had heard that just depending on the sort of construction, what the phase was, that it was getting very hard for pedestrians. I would also say, just sort of adding on top of that, one thing that I did want to raise is that the scene at 181st Street and Fort Washington, the irony that it's implementing a pedestrian safety project is so hair-raising. I literally had to the other night go and like wade into traffic to save an older gentleman who was stuck because there is no path for pedestrians in a crossing. So you basically have to leave the crosswalk, go substantially away from the intersection, so sort of substantially more mid-block into traffic to get to the little temporary curb cut. And this is on both angles of the perpendicular, meaning you cannot get to the northeast corner right now without taking your life into your own hands. And it's been like this since Friday, which leads me to believe it's been since before that, but Friday night through the weekend, and it was still like that tonight. And it's crazy town. Like there is no, they ditched the paths for pedestrians some point, and they just moved all the cones to the curb. And it's a yellow tape, so you can't get in at all. You just have to wade into traffic and hope for the best. So I guess then that's a Broadway Bridge plus generally when the construction's happening, like what the hey?
So I know after the last meeting, I think Lyle followed up with our bridges, so maybe he can speak to the Broadway Bridge. And I have spoken with our research implementation and safety team that's doing the raised crosswalk. We can certainly follow up with them again. They're hoping that that should be wrapping up very soon. Of course, it is really challenging for us to put in these kinds of we want to put in this project because of the pedestrian volumes. It does make it hard to do the construction during that time, but I'll certainly follow up with them again. And I don't know if you have.
Yeah, if you need pictures, I'll go out tomorrow and do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you have any pictures, you can send them to us and we can forward those to the team. Sorry, in regards to the Broadway Bridge, yeah, after the meeting last month, we did reach out to our Bridges division. There is a liaison specifically for the Broadway Bridge that I can put you in contact with, that has all information on the bridge, has newsletters, and is on site pretty much every day. We're right by the bridge and can see pretty much what's going on the ground in real time. When we had spoken, she had gone out to the bridge location last month and didn't really see anything out of the ordinary based off of the conversation we had last month. But if there are any additional things that might have popped up in the past couple of weeks that's, that others are seeing, you can reach out to me again, or I can, again, put you in contact with the liaison and our bridges division, and maybe we can address those directly if that works.
Yeah, I mean, it might be helpful if I'm sure some people have it up there, but like those construction liaisons are there for the community. So I would certainly like to circulate it so that people have it. And Lyle, at the time you did get the pictures, right? Of like what the conditions were.
Yeah. I forwarded those also to our Bridges division and to the liaison. And it looked like when they had gone back up there, that situation had cleared up. So I'm not sure if anything's changed in the past couple of weeks where it's a little dangerous. I know that just today I heard that there might be some concerns about things that might have happened over the weekend in that area. I think there might have been some potential construction. I'm not sure if that's DOT related. Currently, as far as the Broadway Bridge goes, there's no major work that's going on there currently. So that might be something that's MTA related. That's something that we're looking into to see if they did any work recently in that area. But like I said, I can, if it's anything DOT related, we can definitely check in with the liaison again and see if there's any information that they come up with between, last month and this month, if anything's changed.
And Debbie, I know you asked about just a general update up there, and we did reach out about that. So we'll see when it makes sense to get that scheduled.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, who determines what makes sense to schedule? Like, can I say I'll take it? We'll take it as soon as it's available. Do we? or
I think it's just like when it makes sense for like what.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not that familiar with the project, but I think when they have an update, I don't know. We can double check.
Yeah, the project up there has been it's been a little bit of a challenge for us as far as bridge operations and combining that with work to go on down there. So there's stuff that should have happened already, but there are things that are a little more time consuming than we thought. So as far as the major work that's supposed to have taken place that hasn't taken place as of yet, it is forthcoming. It's just a matter of when. But we can, if anything, reach out to our bridges division to see if we can get a more substantial, specific update on what's going on here, and if they might have an updated time frame as far as when the major construction is going to happen. But as of now, it's pretty much relatively quiet, at least in the DOT perspective up there, and no major construction going on to this point. Like
I think the timing is just when we have a solid update that is clear to share.
Yeah,
things are a little bit in flux. It's better to maybe wait a month or two.
I mean, because so this was that there was a major phase that was meant to have started and then it didn't, but that's still in front of us. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, there was work that should have happened. I mean, to this point, a little while ago.
And that was pandemic related or other?
Pre-pandemic, there were some issues, that we were trying to tackle prior to the major construction. So the pandemic didn't help.
Coordination issues.
Yeah, but we're working with our contractor in order to address those, and then pretty much make more major construction at some point. But like I said, everything's pretty much quiet for now. But we'll have an update specific when we can pass it along to you.
Okay. And so we're December, when should we think we're getting a busway presentation?
So just before we continue, I don't know if some of the folks that are still on for Amsterdam, like I see Elena there, if that's wrapped up, just want to give you the chance to jump off if we're done with 180, sorry, with Amsterdam. But for 181st, we are scheduled now to collect data in January, and so we're looking to come in February, and we'll keep you posted to the extent that we can if that changes. But we have the actual data collection scheduled. It's been a little challenging to get it scheduled, but it's fine for January. So the good thing is now the subway station is open. I know you were concerned about that, and we're still keeping track of that Con Ed project to make sure that's not going to impact the data collection.
No, and I'm interested. I mean, I think it's a good thing that the data poll will be with the one train station open, and I have no idea how that nets out. I think that impacts people and pedestrians and bus riders and stuff like that more than it affects the car thing, but I don't know. So I'm just sort of curious.
Some pickups though, some people that we're going to drop off picked up at the station.
Okay.
So just jumping in for a second, I just want to tell Anna and Johnsley, thank you again. And it's okay for you guys to log off if you want to. You don't need to stay for the rest of the meeting. You were amazing. Thank you again. And
thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome.
Oh, here.
Always. Thank you all for listening and taking time to hear the presentation. Goodbye.
Thanks again. Betty, I'm sorry. Is that a hand? That's not an old hand? Do you have a new hand?
Yes, no, it's an old hand.
Oh, okay.
It's an old hand. Sorry about that.
Okay, I got that. And OC, did you have you had another item? Okay,
I did have. Is that my turn now?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So it's a question to Kimberly. It's in regards to the non-functioning streetlight on Park Terrace East. We have safety concern about that. It's going on for a number of months. And I know that Martin Collins is in conversation with you about that. My understanding that DOT is supposed to fix it in 30 days. It's been roughly 4 to 6 months. And it's a big safety concern because it's really dark on that street without that light that is in the middle of the street. So my question is, can you give us a date of when is it going to be fixed? And I just want to know for the women that are very concerned about the safety at night, if any of them get raped or mugged or worse, who is, I understand it's the DOT as an agency will be responsible, but who is the person that's not doing their job? Because it's a serious safety concern, and I invite you to come here at night to see how dark it is. So, and I'm asking DOT to take it very seriously.
That's the first I've heard of that issue. I believe we've talked about.
You reply back to Ebenezer's email on the November 23rd.
I can jump in. Long story short, I know what you're talking about. This is actually with Con Ed. UNT did its part as the foundational work. It's up to Con Ed basically to do their
I'm sorry,
part.
who are you? David, do you know who is the person that's talking now?
Maya Blackwood is our borough planner he's the Community Ward 12 liaison for our office in Manhattan DOT.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, Martin's been emailing me as well in regards to this, and on that trail, Con Ed was also notified, and we're all waiting for word from Con Ed.
Can we mute the person that is not talking? I can't hear what's going on. Yes.
Like I said, Martin reached out to me and to Con Edison as well, and like I said, at this point, we're all waiting for Con Edison to give us a time frame for when they're going to go back to re-energize the light. DOT did its part at this point. We've been waiting for Con Ed for a while. It looks like they're waiting for an update from the people on their end, but yeah, it's in Con Ed's hands now as far as the rest of the work that can be completed there.
So it's being left that way, and nobody cares about, finding out where is the date.
I think you made the point. It is not good news that it's with Con Ed because we don't have the same line of communication. They don't have somebody who's assigned to us, who sort of is responsive in the way. Lyle does always chase down all these lighting issues for CB12, and I understand the frustration and I understand the urgency of the situation, but Con Ed's not on this call, and all I can say is they don't have an awesome track record in terms of communicating with the community about certainly not
Debbie,
that kind of stuff.
Can you add that to the minutes so we have that on record, because it's a safety concern for women that apparently nobody cares about them. That's how I look at that. That's what it is.
Now, Chanel, is it possible, can you kind of capture this to get to Ebenezer for district service cabinet? And actually, are you able, I don't know if you sit in DSC, do you know if Con Ed attends?
I believe so. Con Ed usually attends, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
they do. Yeah, there's a Con Ed liaison that does attend, and there's a specific liaison that's also on that thread. That's the person we're waiting for to get back to us. She doesn't have the specific information, but it's not reflective of trying on Martin's part. He's been trying, for a while to get a response, from both of us. Like I said, the ball is in Con Ed's court, but there is a specific person that we're all in contact with that we're waiting to hear back from in particular. So she hasn't gotten back to us yet. So that's pretty much what we're waiting for.
Okay. All right. So, and Chanel, will Ebenezer be back for the next DSC, or will it be you and Paola?
Yes, he will. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you can just sort of remind him that he can start. He can start leaning hard.
Okay.
And that there's a great deal of frustration with the pace.
Okay.
that
I'll let him
Con
know.
Ed has. Okay, thank you. Let me just see if we've got.
Deborah, I want to say thank you for allowing me to be part of the meeting. Just thought I'd bring that up.
We're happy to meet you. We know Paul well, and so we're glad to hear word.
Well, Paul's doing his exercise. He went down from this is nothing to do with this, but he was a 56 waist. He's down to a 40. So he's my Uncle Paul. And right now he's doing his bicycle exercise. So
Oh,
I'm
please
filling in
send
for
our
him.
regards. He is
I sure will.
our most frequent flyer.
Yes, I will. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you being here. Mary, did you have something?
I have something that's not DOT related. It's actually MTA related, but I don't know where to go with it at this point.
Okay, go for it.
Yesterday I was out and about waiting for a bus on 178th and Broadway to come back downtown to where I live. And I have the rollator, and there was plenty of spaces for the buses to pull into the curb. And not only have the rollator, but now I have this hand that's totally out of commission. And 2 buses in a row refused to come to the curb, and they could have angled in and gotten in from where they were out in the middle of the road. Because first of all, on 178th, there's no ped ramp on Broadway. It's on the side on 178th Street. And you have to, you got to wait for the traffic to go, but by then the bus has the light, so they can just take off. But they refused 2 buses in a row, 7 and then 100, refused to come into the curb. Then a 5 did come into the curb, and I said, I need the ramp. And they were giving me this, and I ran into, again, 2 bus drivers, and this all happened yesterday. I had a very frustrating day yesterday traveling. They were questioning me why I needed the ramp.
Oh my God.
And I, got into like an argument with, I said to them, I said, you don't need to question me why I said, I have the rollator and you see my hand. I said, and it's you don't have any right to question me. If I say I need the ramp, I need the ramp. And they finally opened it up. But it was like, why do I have to go through this song and dance? And, it's very frustrating, very frustrating.
Okay, well, why not?
I'm trying to think, what would Edith do in this,
Right. Yeah, I know.
Right.
I know. I think we should create, just like you had to some extent, and Edith certainly did, more of a direct line with you and the new Howie, Jessica Spanton. And, Howie has moved into an accessibility role. I don't know if there's ever, opportunity maybe to suggest that that visibility gets raised on both sides, not just in the liaison side, but about the sort of continued problems in practice with
It's a
delivering the
sensitivity
accessibility
thing,
services
with the
of the
drivers.
MTA. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Because that's, yes, we had the odd report, but you just had 3 in a row. The
Right.
third one came to you,
Right.
but it didn't
Right.
make it easy. Okay. All right. I will actually get you connected so we can sort of go direct, because I know they always encourage, go 511, but I think this is worth a conversation.
Yeah. Thank
Jim?
you.
I just wanted to comment, I hope Mary, she probably didn't, because she didn't have her hand to write with. Ideally, when this happens, we must get the number of the bus and the time. So
That's
that
the
we
problem. I couldn't write. I can't, I can.
Yeah, they probably knew you couldn't catch them. That's what it was. Yeah.
But it's a general, it was,
Oh, no,
it's more of a,
inexcusable.
if it was an individual thing, I probably could have remembered the bus, the number on the
Yeah,
bus.
no,
But
it's inexcusable. It's absolutely inexcusable. And it's just, you know, it's all about courtesy and customer service. You know,
Right.
it's not about them. It's about us. We are the customers.
Right. We're the reason you have a job.
Exactly.
All right, well, we're about to adjourn. I will just leave the committee members with two things. One, just if you have things that you've been thinking about and interested in, don't be shy about just pinging me about items that you think might be interesting to take on in the new year. And I mean, as you know, I distributed the streets plan. I want to think a little bit on that, but there might be aspects that, you know, that we want to consider. And I guess the last thing I'd like to say is, Omar, we'll miss you on the committee, our former assistant chair and wonderful partner on the committee. We'll miss you, and thank you for being here tonight and seeing us out in style. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second, and thank you, Debbie. Appreciate you and everyone else.
All right. So all in favor, actually, we are adjourned.
Hey, Deborah, before we go, Paul wants to say hello.
Hello,
okay.
How's it going? Hello, how's it going?
It's going well, Paul. How are you?
Okay, I just want to know when you're going to start the meetings again.
We don't know, but it does feel like it's not going to be too much longer till at least we have more of a hybrid format.
Yeah, because I like the meetings better because this way I can't get on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that's why we haven't seen you. So yeah, we're just all waiting to hear what happens next. Although, you know, each time we obviously have things worsen a bit with with COVID, you know, it might end up getting delayed, but there's been discussion, you know, at a citywide level about what that will look like and how it will look in CB12, and do we have an opportunity to do something hybrid sometime soon. So we'll keep you posted.
Please do. Let me know. You got my email. They got all this stuff at the office, and I never get any word but when the meetings are or anything. You know, they never send me anything.
Oh.
You know, so I don't know. Okay.
I'll check it out.
Thank you, Deborah.
All right, everybody have a great night and a great week, and I'll see you later in the month.
You have a good evening yourself. Thank you.
All right, good night all.
Hi, Debbie.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Bruce.